Hello guys, welcome to a third lecture of our Cursor for Beginners course, and in this video we'll actually build our first app using Cursor. Okay, so let's quickly take an overview of what we're doing in this video. Okay, so we'll use Cursor AI chat to write, run and debug real code. We'll learn through a practical Node.js Hello World app. We'll experience how Cursor supports every stage of development, from writing code, from debugging, from fixing errors if we face any while running the app, and also iterate or maybe adding more features to the app. Okay, so in this video we'll actually build a Node.js app, and this will be a very basic Hello World app. Okay, so let's go. So like we discussed in the last video, it's very important to start with a project folder. So whenever we open Cursor, you can open a folder, and wherever you want to create that project, just create an empty directory, and that will be your main folder for the project. Okay, so in this one we can maybe create a folder like Node.js Hello World app, right? And what happens with this, very important, it keeps the chat history tied to the project. Okay, so now the Cursor knows that, hey, the project is going to be residing inside this directory, and whatever indexing it wants to do, whatever file generation it wants to do, whatever the chats that you are doing in order to generate files inside this project, all of these things Cursor kind of understands it more better. Okay, it ensures AI can create, edit files in the right place. So it will know that, hey, this is the directory, all the files that I need to create, it will go inside this folder. It helps AI understand project structure from the start. Okay, so basically if you are randomly opening different folders inside the Cursor, then it kinds of hallucinates in that way. Okay, it always has to fix it. Hey, I have to identify that where I should create some files, where I should create some files. But if we at the start only will say, hey, create a folder, this is my project folder, do everything inside this, and whenever I chat, the agent makes sure that only I have to create files only inside this folder. Okay, so let's do this exercise first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Cursor, right? And then let's close this. This is from the last video. We want the left panel with us, and this was the folder I opened. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new folder. So let me create a new window actually, right? And then I can close this one, no need this, and then I can just zoom this guy, and then let's create open project. Before this, let me just zoom in a bit. Let's click on open project, and what I'm going to do is on my desktop only, I'm going to create a new folder and call this Node.js Hello World app. Okay, so let's create this. Let's open. Okay, and this is the interface that we get. We have already talked about this interface a lot. So what I'm going to do is now my Cursor knows that inside this directory it has to generate some files. Okay, so let's go back to our nodes now. Now that we have done this, let's go forward. So now will be creating our node app. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll give a prompt, create a Hello World Node.js app. Cursor, what Cursor does, let's see that, and then we'll come back here again. Okay, so let's go there and let's say create Node.js. So this is basically the AI panel, right? And this is basically, there are two modes here. One is agent and the ask mode. We have already talked about what agent mode means and what ask mode means, right? So I can just rename this chat to my Node.js setup, right? So usually just name this chat modes like this, or basically your agent modes like this. And basically if you're building a different application, different auth inside the app, or maybe a different feature inside the app, so maybe you can just go to here and create a new agent, and basically it will start a new chat context from there. Okay, so let's just do this. So basically what I want is create a Node.js Hello World app that returns this response when a user opens the root route, right? So I think this is enough, and I will just set this model. So you can switch AI models here, but I'm going to keep it to auto based on what happens here is basically Cursor in auto mode. Cursor checks with different LLMs which LLM you have tokens right now, and then it can make requests to them. And basically if you are just sticking to one model, it may be possible that tokens are like kind of exhausted, right? So auto basically allows Cursor to switch to other models and optimize your token use for different requests. Okay, so let's send this response, and let's see what Cursor does for us. And the agent is in work right now. So it's saying, I help you create a Node.js Hello World app. Let me start by creating the necessary files and setting up the project. So what it's doing is creating a package JSON with dependencies, create main server file app.js or index.js. So it wants to go to this directory and install these packages. npm install is basically installing these packages. Okay, so now let's see in package JSON what all directories, what all files it's kind of saying. And this is very important, right? This is where you can just say that, hey, it's kind of creating these files on the go, and inside these files there is one kind of a green thing or basically an undo thing. If you do undo, it will go back to just being empty. If I just keep these things, then what will happen, the changes will be applied to this file. So agent doesn't automatically apply the changes, although it has done these things for us, it has created those files for us, but we can just keep this, click on this green tick or keep button to kind of keep these changes here in this file. Basically we are giving the permission to agent that, hey, I want to keep these changes, let's do this. Okay, and all you can do, you can just keep all as well, so that changes in all the 3 files will be there. So for example, these 3 files are created, you can just select keep all, and all the changes will be applied to these files. Okay, so what I can do, I'm gonna keep this, right? And then once you do this, what happens is you can review the next file. So what will happen, wherever the cursor has made changes to the different files, you can go to those files, review those changes and accept it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to review the next file and just see, okay, it has imported express library, app, created the app, port is there, and on the root route it is sending the response hello world, and is starting the server at port 3000 if the environment variable is not there. This is very basic Node.js code, right? So I'll say keep it, fine, and then I'm going to go review the next file. And this is just a readme file, right? So cursor, as you are building the project, cursor also creates a readme file, basically about setting up the app, what architecture you are following and all those things, right? So let's keep this as well. So we'll keep it, fine. And now what cursor is telling us that, hey, you can change to this directory, which is this app, and then install these packages. Basically in package JSON, whatever node modules are there, like these dependencies are there, right? These dependencies are there, it will install, right? We have not installed it right now, but once we run this, so very interestingly, cursor has allowed us to do is inside the chat panel only, it's kind of giving us this terminal kind of a stuff where you can just run this command and it will automatically run this for us, right? So it is running the terminal command, installing the packages. Now the node modules folder has been created. It means express library is kind of getting installed. So this is installed, and let's see, perfect. I have created a complete Node.js Hello World application for you. Here's what I've set up, and you should always read this through, right? Because what happens is during vibe coding, the editor creates a lot of stuff. It goes through multiple files. There's a lot of stuff. For example, in this case only we saw that 3 files have been changed, right? And these 3 files had a lot of changes. So you should always, while reviewing those changes, also try to work with cursor to understand the code much better. Maybe what you can do, you can create a new new agent chat, and then maybe use the ask mode there to understand the code a bit better before you commit to that particular project snapshot. Okay, so okay, fine, files created, this files, package JSON, app.js, readme.md, documentation with setup and usage instructions, key feature, Express.js server running on port 3000. So it has already run the app as well. That is also good. Root route that returns hello world when accessed. Development support with NodeMon for auto start during development. It has also done the NodeMon as well. That is also good. So basically it's kind of a live kind of a thing. So NodeMon actually doesn't make sense to explain all this, but let me just tell you what happens. So inside this server code, whenever you make any change, right, from hello world to let's say hello universe, so what happens, it is kind of a live, right? So again, if you open the route, that root route in which we were kind of returning the response hello world, it will now return the response hello universe. This is what NodeMon is used for. Okay, so this is done, and then to run the application, install dependencies already done. We can start the server using npm start, and then you can open your browser and go to this one. You should see hello world displayed in your browser. And then for development with auto restart, you can use npm run dev. The application is now ready to use and can be easily extended with additional routes and features as needed. Okay, so this is good for me. Yeah, and here while reviewing changes, you can also do these things as well. That hey, these are the changes that cursor did for us. Okay, so we already reviewed our changes, so not going to do that. And then what we can do is either you can use the terminal right inside the cursor, right? And inside this folder, you can run npm run dev. But what we can do, we are going to ask cursor to kind of, hey, let's run the app for me, right? So hey, let's run the app. Okay, So what cursor is going to suggest, it will do this npm start. I'll say run, and then perfect. The Node.js hello world app is running in this in the background. Your app is running at this. Let's click on this link and click on this link, and it's not working. Why? Okay, let me copy this link and let's just, or we can open from here and see here the hello world is kind of returned in the root route for us. So wow, this was really good. Like we were able to kind of create the Node.js app, set up everything using just one single prompt, right? We don't even have to know like what cursor did for us. Yeah. If you even have just some basic knowledge around client and server, or just Node.js, basics of Node.js, you can build such great apps, right? So anyways, let's see. So what cursor did, cursor scaffold key files for us. It saved time with ready to go structure. So like cursor has been trained on multiple code bases that are there online, and based on that structure, it did find the intent behind my prompt, and based on that intent, it was able to kind of say, hey, he's trying to just create a simple setup Node.js app and return this on the root route. Okay, so now that we have done this, let's go ahead and we have run the app as well. So good. And there are multiple features, right? Errors, features, chat modes. Chat modes we have already seen. Models we have already seen. We'll talk about few things here. We'll now ask Node.js or cursor to kind of build something, right? It has already built our app, but we'll now ask it to add a new route and a new feature there. And let's see how cursor interprets this. And we'll do this prompt, right? The prompt is basically, I want to add a slash random route which returns number between 1 and 100 inclusive, right? So what I want is basically a random route, and when I go there, what should happen is it should return me a number between 1 and 100, and let's see what it does for us. So I'll give this request to cursor, and let's see what it does. And then cursor has interpreted this request, and it is doing some things. And so here you automatically can see review next file. So look like the changes are done, and it has added a random route. It returns a number between 1 and 100 random. It chooses this number and returns the JSON as a response. So I'll say yes, keep this. Okay, and then let's go back. And we started this project using npm start, not run dev. So I'm guessing that we will not have displayed in this route right now, right? Because the nodemon thing was not running. So what I can do is go to cursor. So I'll say kill the app and run again. Okay, so let's see what cursor does now. Okay, so cursor wants to kill this. So we'll say, okay, run. Let's see whether it is, oh, it is able to kill the app here from here only, and we'll do npm start. So let's say run, and yes, so now the app is running. Now let's just check our route, and if we refresh it, we got this number 78. Let me zoom this and show you. Number 78 is returned. Wow, this is really awesome, man. This is so powerful. I can't even explain you this, right? Okay, so we can do multiple things as well. I wanted to talk about this thing as well. So for example, here what you see is this add part, right? So you can just select this part, or maybe what I can do now, I can just change this and get an error, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say kill the app and run again, right? So this is an error, right? There is no random number variable, but it is the random number. So let's do this. So okay, so we'll say yes, run this, and let's run this. Yes, run this, and the app is running now. So let me go back and refresh this, and we have an error, right? This is not defined. What is this? I don't know, right? We created a random number variable, it was fine, but I'm getting this error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe create a screenshot out of this, right? And what I'm going to do is go back to my code and pass this image as a context, right? So this is basically what has happened is we are kind of providing this context to my cursor AI panel. And then what I'm going to say, hey, I am getting this error on the slash random route. Can you please check and fix it? Let's see what cursor does, right? So we intentionally did it, but usually this is what you get sometimes, these errors, right? So it has made the changes, it has identified that random number was the error, so we'll say keep it, and then we'll run this. It will again kill my app, and then it will start running it again. Okay, so it has run the app. Let's go back, let's refresh, and our number is printed again. Okay, so these are some of the very advanced stuff, or not advanced, but the basic stuff that is something that you have to know about cursor. And very quickly we were able to set up a Node.js app, build 2 routes, and even fixed our error which we actually created, right? So this was really good, and that is it for this video, guys. And then from the next video onwards, we'll talk about a little more features in cursor, and we'll go towards building a very complete full stack app using cursor as well. Okay, so I'll see you soon. Bye.